All right, for Math Skills 2, we're going to introduce Lesson 5, which is called Addition and Subtraction Word Problems. And with addition and subtraction word problems, we're combining what we had in Lessons 3 and Lesson 4 as far as adding and subtracting patterns and also multiplying and dividing patterns. Now we're going to start right away with an example. And in example 1, it says the Duke counted 5,260 people. All right, so in other words, out of all the people that he counted 5,260. It says, and it looks like there's a typo there, it says then the Duchess, so it should be then the Duchess counted 4,720 people. So what I notice is that one person counted more than the other. It says how much greater was the Duke's count. Now, one thing with word problems, you want to make sure you understand what they're asking and what material is given. So one way you can do that is to read the problem numerous times and just read it slowly and try to break the sentences up. So it wants to know how much greater was the Duke's. Now the Duke's count was 5,260 and the Duchess count was 4,720. It wants to know how much greater one is than the other. So we'll subtract to find that answer. And what I get is 540 more people. So the Duke counted 540 more people. So to check this, and you do want to check it, I should be able to add 540 to the Duchess's count, and I should get what the Duke's count was. And notice then I do, and it checks. So our answer is 540 more people, and we want to make sure that we label it. All right, example 2, I'm going to read this a few times. It says 417 birds, so I'm going to write that number up there. So 417 birds were in the trees at 8 o'clock. Okay, so I'm just going to stop and think about what that means. So at 8 o'clock, there were 417 birds. Now, an hour later, or in other words, at 9 o'clock, the number had increased to 942. So at 9 o'clock, there's 942. So there's more birds, right? A lot more birds an hour later. How many birds arrived between 8 and 9 o'clock? So I'm thinking about how I'm going to do that. I'm going to take how many there were at 9 o'clock and subtract how many there were at 8 o'clock to figure out what the difference is, or how many more birds arrived between 8 and 9. And you can use calculators on this. I'm going to work it out here. And we get 5, we get a 2, and we get a 5. So 525 more birds. So let's check it now. So I should be able to take the 417. Remember, what's the opposite of subtracting? To add. Or in other words, the inverse of subtracting is addition. And 12, 4, and I get 942. So it checks. So my answer is 525 birds arrived between 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock. All right, example 3. At sunrise, many ducks were on the pond. All right, so I'm going to think about, right, so when the sun's coming up, there were a lot of ducks on the pond. Then 425, so I'm going to write that, maybe write that on papers. Then 425 ducks flew away. So there were so many ducks on the pond. I don't know how many there were originally, but then 425 of them flew away. Now it says 642 ducks, so 642 ducks remained on the pond. Wants to know how many originally were there at sunrise. So in other words, what are we doing here? We're taking a number, we're taking the number of ducks there were originally minus 425 that flew away, giving us the 642 that remain. Now notice I'm setting this one up a little differently. I'm tying this to lessons 3 and 4, which sometimes you would need to do. Example 1, example 2 are a little bit more straightforward. So let's see, I don't know how many original ducks there were. 425 flew away, so minus 425 gives us the total that we have now, which is 642. Let's see, they're subtracting. What's the inverse operation? Let's add these two numbers. 642 plus 425. I'm saying that the original number was 1,067 ducks. Now let's check it. If you take your calculator and take 1,067 minus 425, do you get 642? And you would. So we did this correctly. So the original, or what the original topic was using addition and subtraction to solve word problems.